Hei ja tervetuloa mukaan. Meillä on ilo saada vieraksemme tänään Eurocadresin puheenjohtaja Nayla Glaise ja keskustelemme hänen kanssaan tänään mistäpä muusta kuin Eurocadresista. Mikä Eurocadres on, kuinka se toimii ja millaisten edunvalvontakysymysten kanssa nyt työskennellään. Eurocadreshan on korkeakoulutettujen eurooppalainen yhteistyöjärjestö, virallisemmin neuvosto, ja eurooppalainen työmarkkinaosapuoli, joka on assosioitunut EAY:hyn ja osallistuu eurooppalaiseen työmarkkinaosapuolten vuoropuheluun eli sosiaalidialogiin. Suomesta Akava ja STTK ovat Eurocadresin jäseniä ja Akava on ollut Eurocadresin toiminnassa aktiivisesti mukana koko ajan. Mutta siirrytään Naylan kanssa keskustelemaan. Welcome to Finland, Nayla. We are very happy to have you here with us. So you were elected Eurocadres president nearly a year ago, and it has to be mentioned that during Eurocadres' 30-year history, you are the first female president. But so far, how has the first year as a president been?
First of all, I would like to thank you for this interview and giving me the opportunity to meet Akava colleagues. So yeah, it has been 1 year already in Brussels. I would say it has been a very busy year because we have a new team in Eurocadres Secretariat, but also we have a new executive committee. So we had to kind of start from scratch, building our network in Brussels, but in the same time being close to our members to understand better their demands and their needs and how they function.
Yes. So tell us more about Eurocadres. What is Eurocadres and how it is organized, main functions, and how do you represent its members?
Okay, so Eurocadre was created in 1993 with the Maastricht Treaty. So we are a European social partners recognized in Brussels. We represent 6 million of professionals and managers all over Europe. Mainly our activities are based on advocacy, lobbying, but also being active in the European social dialogue. So when we had our new executive committee, we decided that we will organize ourselves in 4 different working groups so that we can answer all our priorities that were adopted in our policy program during our Congress. So one of the working group deals with occupational health and safety, and this working group has been working very hard on our campaign and stress. I hope we have the opportunity to talk about this, but also on telework, right to disconnect, and all these new important issues for professionals and managers. We have another group that is working on skills and research. And for that, we have been running a European project on re- and upskilling for professionals and managers. We had a big conference in Brussels. Some of your colleagues were here and we were very happy to have them. We have another group that works also on women and diversity. And thanks to Akava as well, we have been working close together on the Pay Transparency Directive, Women on Board, and now we're working on the directive on combating violence against women. And finally, we have another working group that deals with all the issues related to artificial intelligence and sustainability. And this is a huge work that we're doing because since last year, I would say a lot of legislation dealing with artificial intelligence are showing in Brussels. And in October, on 20th and 21st of October, we're having a big conference in Paris on artificial intelligence. We are inviting the Commission, but also other European actors. So we'll be very happy if you can join us in Paris. But also we work on the due diligence directive where we propose amendments to the MEPs. We meet with them and we try to lobby to push our demands in these directives. So mainly this is how we work.
Yes, it sounds breathtaking. So no wonder you have been busy. Eurocadres is running a campaign called End Stress. Tell us more about the campaign and why is it so important for Eurocadres and also important for us in Finland?
Yes, so our campaign endstress.eu is a platform joining 46 members from different European trade unions, but also some NGOs and institutions. why it's important. Unfortunately, I think the stress epidemic hit all European workers and especially professionals and managers. And we can see some figures at the European level that are really scary. Like, for instance, 60% of all working days are lost because of stress at work.
Yes.
The cost of stress at work is estimated to 620 billion euros a year at the European level. So yes, this is huge. And at the same time, when we question the employer, why do they deal with stress at work? 89% of them say that to comply with the legislation. So I think that we need a legislation on psychosocial risk. And this is why we ran this campaign to call the Commission for a directive, an EU directive on psychosocial risks. So what I would say is that what we want is an EU directive that can be transposed in all member states with minimum requirements. This doesn't mean that member states cannot go beyond this directive and propose better legislation, or even better, that social partners can negotiate agreements for better legislation and better protection of workers against these new risks.
Yes, and this is also very important for Akava. So what is the state of play now?
So we started this campaign a few months ago. It was last summer, not this one, a year ago. We met with the Commission and we tried to discuss having a proposal of directive on psychosocial risks. And the Commission's position was, no, this is not on my agenda. This is not a priority. We're not discussing this. So what we did is that we went to the Parliament and we start discussions with MEPs. So now, a year later, we have 2 European Parliament reports calling for a legislative action on psychosocial risks. The first one is on the Framework Occupational Health and Safety European Parliament report. The rapporteur is our Danish colleague, Marianne Wind. She calls for a directive on psychosocial risk. We had also in June another report that was adopted. The rapporteur is Maria Walsh from EPP, calling for a legislative action on psychosocial risks. So now with these 2 reports, what we did is that we wrote a letter to the Commissioner calling now to start proposing an action at the EU level to protect workers from these risks. We also launched a campaign, a video campaign that you can see on our website and stress.eu. But what I would like also to say is that it's also good that you can join this campaign and connect to our regular meetings. You can just send your email address and you will receive an invitation and follow up the state of play of this. But now what we are also doing is we're organizing meeting with the Swedish Perm Rep, because we heard that psychosocial risk is one of their priorities, but also the Belgian one. So with the Swedish presidency in January, we hopefully can get something.
Yeah. So it sounds like a year ago, Commission didn't want to hear anything of such, and it seems like you have been and are starting from the scratch. Is it possible to achieve such goals?
Absolutely. Otherwise, we're not in Brussels then. So yes, we believe. You know, a few years ago, Eurocadres initiated from scratch some work on the protection of whistleblowers. And there was nothing on the agenda of the Commission by that time on the whistleblower protection. So we launched a campaign called whistleblowerprotection.eu. And a few years later, we had a directive, an EU directive protecting whistleblowers. And now this directive has been transposed in most of the member states, and the laws were adopted. So I think we should believe that we can get results from these campaigns.
Yes, the whistleblower campaign is an excellent example how to achieve goals. About the European social dialogue. Why is dialogue so important, and what is on the agenda right now? Can you tell us in a few words?
Yes. So as I said, Eurocadres is a European social partner, so we participate in the European social dialogue. So in June, we signed the work program for 2022-2024. And in this work program, we will start negotiating a directive with the employers on telework and right to disconnect. At the European level, we have an agreement on telework dating from 2002. And by the way, it's not a very bad agreement. It's really good. But now we're in 2022. We have new forms of work, we have different ways to work, and we think that this agreement should be updated. And these negotiations will start this autumn or winter, so very soon. And also it will be an update of the 2002 agreement to be put in the form of a directive, so that member states can transpose it and have a better regulation on telework. But on telework, I mean, the telework, stress, right to disconnect, all of this go hand in hand. With these new forms of work, I think that we need to have safeguards while we call for prevention from these risks, when we call for a directive on psychosocial risk, but also we call to regulate telework and right to disconnect with this directive negotiated with the employers. So they all complementary, I would say, but kind of different.
Yes, and it's of a huge importance. So thank you, Nayla. This was a brief but a lot of information. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.